The parking lot stretched before him like a concrete desert, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows between the rows of vehicles. Ricardo Martinez stepped out of his Tesla, the soft click of the door closing behind him barely registering in his mind. At 42, he had everything money could buy. A penthouse overlooking downtown Chicago, a collection of luxury cars, investments that generated more in a day than most people earned in a year. Yet the silence that greeted him each evening felt heavier than any burden he'd ever carried. His wife and daughter had been gone for 3 years now, taken in an instant by a driver who ran a red light on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Since that day, his world had become a mausoleum of memories, beautiful and terrible in equal measure. What happened in that parking lot would shatter the ice fortress Ricardo had built around his heart. A chance encounter with a desperate child would lead to a confrontation that exposed a predator hiding in plain sight, and a love story that proved the most valuable things in life can never be purchased. The journey from that moment to the courtroom showdown that would grip the entire city was paved with tears, hope, and a kind of redemption that only comes when broken souls find each other in the darkness. Before we continue with this incredible tale, the algorithm needs to know you're truly invested in seeing how this unfolds. Subscribe to the channel and drop a comment telling us what city you're watching from. Trust me, you'll want to make sure you don't miss a single moment of what's about to happen, because the ending will leave you speechless. This isn't just another story. It's a testament to how life can transform in the blink of an eye, and you need to stay with us until the very last word to understand why thousands of viewers have called this the most moving story they've ever heard. Ricardo was reaching for his briefcase when he felt a small hand tug at his sleeve. He looked down to find a boy, no more than 7 years old, with dirt smudged on his cheeks and eyes that held far too much worry for someone so young. The child's Superman t-shirt was faded and too small, his jeans torn at the knees, not from play, but from wear. "Mister, please," the boy said, his voice cracking. "My mom is sleeping in the car and she won't wake up right. It's been 3 days. Ricardo's heart stuttered. 3 days? He followed the boy's pointing finger to a battered Honda Civic parked in the far corner of the lot, its windows fogged from the inside. "Show me," he said, his businessman's stride breaking into a jog as the boy led him forward. The child, whose name he would soon learn was Connor, ran ahead, his small legs pumping furiously. When they reached the car, Ricardo peered through the driver's side window and felt his blood turn to ice. A woman was slumped in the reclined seat, her face pale as milk, dark circles beneath her eyes like bruises. She was breathing, but shallowly, and even through the glass, he could see her lips were cracked and dry. "Mom!" Connor banged on the window. "Mom, wake up! I brought help!" The woman's eyes fluttered open, unfocused and glassy. She tried to sit up and immediately swayed, her hand going to her forehead. Ricardo tried the door, unlocked, and pulled it open. The smell hit him immediately. Stale air, unwashed bodies, and beneath it all, the sour tang of sickness. "Ma'am, my name is Ricardo Martinez. Your son came to get me. When did you last eat?" She stared at him with the blank incomprehension of someone too far gone to process simple questions. I don't... Connor, baby, are you okay?" Her words slurred together. "I'm calling an ambulance," Ricardo said, already pulling out his phone. "No!" The word came out sharp, and she tried to grab his wrist but missed. "Can't afford... I just need to rest a little more, and then I have to work." Ricardo looked at Connor, who was clutching his mother's hand with both of his own small ones, tears streaming down his face. "She drives for the app," the boy whispered. "She drives all day and all night. She says we need money for rent." Something cracked inside Ricardo's chest, a fissure in the permafrost that had settled there 3 years ago. He dialed 911. The ambulance arrived within 8 minutes. The paramedics took one look at the woman, Samantha Morrison, according to her driver's license, and began running an IV line before they even loaded her onto the stretcher. Severe dehydration, possible malnutrition, they said. How long had she been pushing herself like this? 3 months, Connor said quietly, standing beside Ricardo as they watched the ambulance doors close. Since her boss fired her from the real job. She drives now, all the time. She says we just need to get through until... His voice broke. Ricardo placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. Get in my car. You're coming with me. At Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Ricardo didn't hesitate. Private room, he told the admitting nurse. Whatever she needs, bill it to this account. He slid his Black American Express across the counter. The nurse's eyes widened. Mr. Martinez, this could be... I don't care what it costs. Just make sure she gets the best care. For 2 weeks, Ricardo visited the hospital every single day. At first, Samantha was too weak to protest. The doctors said she'd been perhaps 48 hours away from complete organ failure when she arrived. She'd been working 18-hour days for months, surviving on gas station coffee and convenience store granola bars, sleeping 3 hours a night in her car between shifts. Connor had been staying with a neighbor during school hours, but coming back to find his mother barely conscious in the parking lot every evening, eating whatever cheap meals Samantha managed to bring home. When Samantha finally had the strength to really talk, her first words were, "I can't pay you back." Ricardo was sitting beside her bed, helping Connor with his homework. "I'm not asking you to. I don't accept charity." Her jaw was set, her green eyes blazing with a pride that had survived everything life had thrown at her. "I've been on my own since I was 16. I don't need—" "He's good, Mom," Connor interrupted, looking up from his math worksheet. "Accept it, please." Samantha's eyes filled with tears. "Connor, baby." "I wake up scared every morning," the boy said, and now he was crying too. "I'm scared you won't wake up. I'm scared you'll be gone like Dad." Ricardo learned the story in pieces over the following days. Samantha's husband had died 4 years ago. Brain aneurysm, no warning. Life insurance had been cancelled 2 months before because they'd missed payments during a rough patch. She'd been working as an office manager, making ends meet, until her boss decided to replace her with his nephew. She'd been driving for rideshare apps ever since, spiraling deeper and deeper into exhaustion and debt, too proud to ask for help, too afraid to stop working even for a moment. "I had a family once," Ricardo told her one evening, when Connor had fallen asleep in the chair beside her bed. "My wife Emma and my daughter Sophie. Emma was a teacher. Sophie loved to draw horses. She was going to be an artist." He paused, his throat tight. 3 years ago, a drunk driver ran a red light on Harrison Street. They both died instantly. Samantha's hand found his. "I'm so sorry. I've been alone since then, living but not alive, going through the motions, making money because that's what I know how to do, but not knowing why I'm doing it." He looked at Connor's sleeping face. "Your son gave me a reason to get up this morning. You both did." When Samantha was discharged, Ricardo had already paid for 2 months in a furnished apartment in a safe neighborhood. "Just until you get back on your feet," he said, cutting off her protests. "Connor needs stability. You need rest. That's not charity. That's common sense." But he didn't stop there. He couldn't. He found himself dropping by with groceries, taking Connor to the park, staying for dinner. Samantha cooked simple meals: spaghetti with marinara, grilled cheese sandwiches, chicken tacos, and they tasted better than anything his private chef had ever prepared. The apartment filled with warmth. Connor's laughter, Samantha's smile, the smell of fresh coffee in the morning. "Why are you doing this?" Samantha asked him one night after Connor had gone to bed. They were sitting on the small balcony, watching the Chicago skyline glitter against the night sky. "Because for the first time in 3 years, I don't feel like I'm drowning," Ricardo said quietly. "Because when I'm here, I remember what it feels like to be human." She kissed him then, soft and tentative, and he felt something long dormant stir in his chest. Hope, possibility, life. But happiness, Ricardo would learn, attracted predators. His name was Derek Morrison, and he showed up 6 weeks after Samantha moved into the apartment. Ricardo opened the door to find a man in his late 30s, thick-shouldered and wearing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "You must be the sugar daddy," Derek said, pushing past Ricardo into the apartment. "Where's my son?" Connor froze at the kitchen table, his crayon hovering over a drawing of a house with 3 stick figures in front. Samantha emerged from the bedroom, her face draining of color. "Get out," she said. "That's no way to greet your husband, Sam." "Ex-husband. We've been divorced for 3 years. Derek's eyes swept over the apartment, calculating. "Nice place. Big upgrade from that shitty car you were living in. Guess I showed up at the right time." He turned to Ricardo. "I'm sure we can work out some kind of arrangement. After all, that's my son. I have rights." "You walked out on us." Samantha's voice shook with fury. "You emptied our bank account and disappeared. You never paid a dime of child support. Connor doesn't even remember you. Doesn't matter what he remembers. I'm his biological father." Derek smiled at Ricardo. "And I'm sure a smart businessman like you understands how expensive legal battles can get. Custody fights, court costs, all that messy public stuff, or..." He spread his hands. "We could settle this privately. Say, 200,000? That's nothing to a guy with your kind of money." Ricardo's hands clenched into fists. "You're blackmailing us." "I'm asserting my parental rights. If you want me to sign them away, well, that comes with a price." Derek's smile widened. "I'll give you a week to think about it." After Derek left, Samantha collapsed onto the couch, sobbing into her hands. Connor crawled into her lap, and Ricardo knelt before them both, his mind racing. "I'll pay it," he said. "No." Samantha's voice was muffled but firm. "I won't let you buy me like that. I won't let him win. Then we fight." But Derek hadn't been bluffing about making things messy. 2 days later, Samantha received notice that Derek was filing for full custody, claiming she was an unfit mother who'd been homeless and was now involved in a transactional relationship with a wealthy man. The court date was set for 6 weeks away. Ricardo hired the best family lawyer in Chicago, but even she looked grim after reviewing the case. "He's playing dirty," she said. "He'll paint you as unstable, desperate, willing to do anything for money. And the fact that Ricardo has been supporting you financially plays right into his narrative." "So what do we do?" Ricardo demanded. "We prove he's not fit to be Connor's father. We need evidence that he's the predator here, not you two." Ricardo began to investigate. He hired a private detective, spent hours combing through Derek's social media, made calls to people who'd known Derek over the years. What he found made his blood boil. Derek Morrison was a con artist, plain and simple. He'd walked out on Samantha with $40,000 from their joint savings, money she'd saved for Connor's future. He'd been arrested twice for fraud, had outstanding warrants in 2 other states, and had pulled this same custody scam on at least 1 other woman. The private detective found a paper trail, bank records showing Derek had demanded money from an ex-girlfriend in Iowa in exchange for giving up his parental rights to their daughter. "This is it," Ricardo's lawyer said, reviewing the documents. "This proves pattern and intent. He's done this before." But Derek wasn't stupid. He played the loving father routine perfectly in mediation sessions, brought tears to his eyes when talking about how much he missed his son, claimed he'd changed and deserved a second chance. The mediator seemed sympathetic. The night before the custody hearing, Ricardo couldn't sleep. He found Samantha sitting on the balcony, wrapped in a blanket against the October chill. "What if we lose?" she whispered. "What if they take Connor away?" "From me? They won't. You don't know that. Derek's right about one thing. I was homeless. I was living in my car. What kind of mother lets that happen? Ricardo took her face in his hands. The kind who works herself to the bone to keep her child fed and safe. The kind who never gives up, no matter how hard things get. You're the strongest person I've ever met, Samantha Morrison. Don't let that bastard make you doubt yourself. She kissed him, fierce and desperate. I love you, she said. I didn't mean to, but I do. I love you too, Ricardo said, and meant it with every cell in his body. And tomorrow we're going to make sure that son of a bitch never hurts you or Connor again. The custody hearing was held in a wood-paneled courtroom that smelled of old books and furniture polish. Derek arrived with his own lawyer, both of them oozing false confidence. Connor sat between Ricardo and Samantha, small and scared in his best clothes. The judge, a stern-faced woman named Margaret. Chen listened as Derek's lawyer painted a picture of a deadbeat mother who'd been rescued by a wealthy benefactor. Mr. Morrison simply wants what's best for his son, the lawyer said smoothly. He wants Connor to have stability, a proper home, a father figure. And $250,000, Ricardo muttered. When it was their turn, Ricardo's lawyer stood. Your Honor, we'd like to present evidence that Derek Morrison has no genuine interest in parenting his child. This is a pattern of behavior for Mr. Morrison. She presented the bank records, the arrest warrants, the testimony from the Iowa woman Derek had extorted. Derek's face went red, then white. This is ridiculous, he spluttered. Those are lies. They're public records, Mr. Morrison, Judge Chen said coldly. I can verify them myself in about 30 seconds. She looked at the documents, her expression growing darker. Is there anything else? Ricardo stood. Your Honor, may I speak? This is highly irregular, Mr. Martinez, but go ahead. Ricardo turned to face Derek directly. You asked me why I'm helping Samantha and Connor. You called me a sugar daddy, implied this was about sex or control or some kind of transaction. But the truth is simpler than that, and more complicated. 3 years ago, I lost my wife and daughter. I lost everything that mattered. I spent 3 years telling myself that life was over, that there was nothing left but making money and waiting to die. His voice cracked. Then a scared little boy asked me to help his mother, and I remembered what it feels like to be needed, to be part of something bigger than myself. Samantha didn't take advantage of me. She saved me. He looked at Samantha, who was crying silently. I fell in love with her because she's brave and stubborn and refuses to be broken no matter what life throws at her. I fell in love with Connor because he's kind and smart and deserves a childhood full of safety and joy, not fear and instability. You, Derek Morrison, are a predator who sees your own child as nothing more than a paycheck. You don't want to be Connor's father. You want to terrorize the woman who escaped you and make money doing it. I'm asking this court to see you for exactly what you are, a parasite who doesn't deserve another second of this family's time. The courtroom was silent. Judge Chen looked at Derek. Mr. Morrison, do you have anything to say? Derek's lawyer whispered furiously in his ear, but Derek shook him off. This is bullshit, he snarled, all pretense of the loving father gone. That little brat isn't even worth the hassle. You know what? Fine. Keep him. Keep her. I don't need this. He stood up, shoving his chair back so hard it clattered. You're all beneath me anyway. He stormed out of the courtroom. His lawyer gathered his papers and hurried after him, muttering apologies. Judge Chen watched them go, her expression unreadable. Then she looked at Connor. Young man, would you like to tell me who you want to live with? Connor stood up. His voice was small but clear. My mom and Ricardo. The judge's stern expression softened just a fraction. Well, that's the easiest decision I've made all week. She banged her gavel. Full custody to Samantha Morrison. Derek Morrison's parental rights are hereby terminated. This court is adjourned. Samantha grabbed Connor and held him so tight he squeaked. Ricardo wrapped his arms around both of them, and in that moment, in that courtroom, the broken, Pieces inside him finally began to fit back together. Outside the courthouse, Ricardo pulled Samantha aside while Connor ran ahead to the fountain in the plaza. "Marry me," he said. "What?" "Marry me. I'm not asking because I think you need me to take care of you. I'm asking because I want to wake up every morning and see your face. I want to help Connor with his homework and argue with you about whose turn it is to do the dishes. I want a life with you, messy and imperfect and real. So marry me, Samantha Morrison. Make me the luckiest man alive." She kissed him, laughing and crying at the same time. "Yes, you stubborn, wonderful idiot. Yes." 1 year later, Ricardo stood in the backyard of the house they'd bought together in Oak Park. Not his sterile penthouse, but a real home with a tire swing and a vegetable garden, and Connor's drawings covering the refrigerator. Samantha was beside him, her hand in his, watching Connor chase their new golden retriever puppy across the lawn. "Who would have thought," Samantha said softly, "that my lowest moment would lead to this?" Ricardo squeezed her hand. "Sometimes we have to lose everything before we can understand what truly matters." Connor ran up to them, breathless and grinning. "Mom, Dad, can we have mac and cheese for dinner?" "Dad." The word still made Ricardo's throat tight with emotion. "Yeah, buddy. We can have mac and cheese." As the sun set over Chicago, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Ricardo realized that the ice fortress was gone. In its place was something warmer, messier, infinitely more precious. He'd found his way home, not to a place, but to the people who made anywhere feel like home. And in saving them, they'd saved him right back. This story proves that redemption doesn't come from money or success. It comes from opening your heart when you've forgotten how. If this tale touched something in you, show it by subscribing to the channel and rating it from 0 to 10 in the comments below. Every story we share is a reminder that life can change in an instant, and love can find us when we least expect it.